Hamilton, now at Ferrari, dares to dream of a record 8th F1 world title. The Tifosi will be hoping the Brits can bring glory back to Italy. To many, Ferrari and Formula One are inseparable. They're the only team in the sport today to have competed in the first World Championship in 1950, are the most successful team in history and have built some absolutely gorgeous cars. Their first driver's title was won in 1952 by Alberto Ascari. Considered one of F1's most dominant and best-loved champions, he drove the iconic Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. Le Professeur Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Raikkonen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last Ferrari world champion. So, 16 constructors' titles, 7 more than McLaren, and 15 drivers' titles, 4 more than, again, McLaren. Ferrari are truly Formula One's top team. Forza Ferrari.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, please tell us, Andy, what's coming up?
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, David Pleat reacts to Daniel Levy's Spurs departure. Stan Collymore talks England strikers and more. And we celebrate the return of the WSL with former player turned commentator Lucy Ward, as well as Jackie Grealish.
Jackie Grealish, yeah, we'll tell you more about that later. As bees stop playing Tanzania, I think it's called, Alan, Tanzania. We're also after details of what interrupted your match, and we'll ask the Tartan Army, is this finally the year they qualify for another World Cup finals?
No. There's all this plus...
Don't be like that.
No, we won't. There's all this plus the clips of the week and Travis Kelce Mahomes' impression revenge.
Yeah.
Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup.
Very good impression of... Mahomes by Travis Kelce, but I mean, it is.
I don't really know what he sounds like though.
Well, he sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Oh, does he?
But he gives it more nuance than that, as we'll hear when we chat to Todd and bring you news of why it was revenge. Also late to the table, we're very excited about this, all being well. Roy Jones Jr. is going to join us for a chat. Uma was just telling us about this fight between Mayweather and Tyson. How depressing. Thankfully, Roy brings us a happier, uplifting story from the world of boxing. So we'll chat and we'll get his take on Canelo Crawford when the great man joins us a little bit later on.
Lovely.
But it is 1:06. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy. An historic night for my club last night.
Yes, tremendous, wasn't it?
There was a pretty major change in the guard upstairs. As you know, about 2 months ago, I told you this was in the offing. So
You did, yes.
It didn't come as a massive shock to me.
I told some people, Spurs friends, and they didn't really believe me when I told them, but you were right.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. It's just some people I knew were quite well connected within the structure there told me that, plans were afoot. So it didn't come as a shock. And we're going to have a chat with David Pleat, who worked with Daniel Levy as a caretaker manager a couple of times and also as a kind of director of football at the club. I think he said, didn't he, a little while ago, that people look back on these years positively after he's no longer there. And to be fair to him, I think there's aspects of what he did that all of us as Tottenham fans would be mad not to look at as positive.
Yeah, it's off the pitch versus on the pitch. It's
exactly
that.
Exactly
off the pitch, world class, fantastic job.
Yeah,
most profitable club, beautiful stadium, fabulous training ground. Can't fault it.
No,
on the pitch, 2 trophies and all that time.
There should have come a point where what was happening off the pitch translated to on the pitch. He would probably argue, well, the stadium's not been there that long. We never had time. Building the stadium meant there were things we couldn't do. There's a few things I can't forgive him for. There was a couple of great windows of opportunity which would have pushed Tottenham.
Yeah.
Well, I think more
Pochettino was
the
Pochettino
era.
Not
There's
backing
the infamous Ryan Nelson, Louis Zaha transfer window under Harry Redknapp when they were pushing for Champions League. And even as recently as the Eza deal, there's a few stories out there suggesting that 1 or 2 people overheard Steve Parish at the Palace-Chelsea game bemoaning the fact that the deal to get Eza done was like blood out of a stone with Daniel as he was negotiating it, allowing Arsenal to nip in and get it done in 5 minutes. So there's a lot of aspects of what went on. The other thing as well, as we said, I'm very grateful. He's built a fantastic stadium. The infrastructure at the club is good, and it's brilliant for the people that are going to continue with that. My understanding is there could be some investment in the club. Maybe imminently, maybe. I think it's something that could happen in the next few months. We'll see.
No, I just can't judge it by looking at the Chelsea website, and you see other fans are worried now.
Yeah.
Because they think Spurs... on the pitch, Daniel Levy has been holding Spurs back to everybody's joy.
So you felt all the Chelsea fans saying, they might go on and actually do something.
They might go on and actually be quite good.
Which tells you something about the perception.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I found this picture of him with hair, though. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That was right at the very start.
Really amazing.
I suppose the bottom line is, why do we go to football? I do love, and I know I'm spoilt because I get to go and I've got a ringside seat, a guaranteed seat, albeit for quite a chunky price, at one of the greatest stadiums in the world. And I'm very grateful for what he's done from that point of view. But you have to ask the fundamental question of why you go to football. And you go to football for the shared experience, for winning, for great nights, for great days, for memorable moments.
You can see the reaction to the Europa League win.
And in the time we've been doing this together, you've had so many of them. You've had, your ground doesn't get anywhere near ours, but that's not the point. You've got endless trophies. You've had so many
5 league titles,
exactly
2 Champions League,
exactly. So many wonderful nights, so many wonderful days, so many wonderful memories you've shared with friends and family. And ultimately, I would have gone and watched Tottenham in Bruce Castle Park on a muddy pitch. You don't judge why you support a football team based on the fact that we've got beer cups that fill themselves from the bottom upwards. You go for the glory. You go to watch the football. And I'm very envious of the fact you've had that. And a lot of other clubs have had that. So ultimately, part of his legacy is what he's done on the infrastructure, and you can't question that.
Right. Liverpool are going to win everything this year. Don't worry about it.
I know David's going to have a very different view on it. And a lot of people, even Kieran Maguire, we often speak to from the Price's Football podcast. So they are the most well-run, profitable club.
Absolutely.
But there has to come a point when there's a balance between what's going on off the field and what's going on it. So I'm quite excited. Who knows what could happen? We don't know what.
I think you need to judge it over the long term. You have to see another next couple of transfer windows to see if it's different. But
I wouldn't be at all surprised if there is some investment and ultimately maybe a changing of guard at some point with the people behind ENIC are saying they've got no plans to sell.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he's going to miss
in the short term.
He's going to miss the day-to-day, but he's still got 25% of the club. So if it did get sold, he'd be absolutely laughing.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I don't think it was about the money.
No,
I think it was a lot of the time. It was about the art of the deal. It was about being at the sharp end. He got a buzz from it. Obviously, who wouldn't? I guess.
I know he got better. At one point, it was ridiculous. This, people joking about 5 to midnight.
Yeah.
And all this sort of stuff. I've got one for you though. Here from I like this. This is from the Times Circular today.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this lot. This is the marriage between Count GF.
Not Count Arthur Strong.
No.
Oh, okay.
Count GF Emo Capitalista Maldura.
Oh,
Out
yeah.
in the club shop and
Count Emo. That's from Sesame Street.
Count GF Emo.
GF Emo.
Capitalista.
Okay. Is he emo? Is he quite into the emo stuff?
No idea.
Okay.
And he's marrying Miss C.C. McFarland, if anybody wants to copy her in.
I mean, it must be. If your name is C.C. McFarland, it must be a bit awkward at times. Are there initials or a name C.C.?
No, Miss C.C. McFarland.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Honestly, the amount of emails she does get copied into must be a bit of a killer from her point of view. So all the best to C.C. and Count Emo. Yeah.
Tremendous, isn't it?
Footage emerged today of a football match in Tanzania.
Yes, it's an incredible sight.
And suddenly the players are playing, and suddenly they all just sort of lie on the floor. We thought, what is this sort of Masonic thing or something? What are they all doing? But no, it was bees. So in that part of the world, maybe they had a swarm.
Do bees don't bees travel at a?
Do you have bees in Tanzania, David?
But surely bees travel at they don't travel at a certain height, do they? I mean, there's no. I couldn't see the advantage of lying down.
Well, you go to Brentford. You should be more of an expert on bees than me.
That's very true.
But I don't know what bees do. But all of them, to a man and woman, they lie flat on the ground.
Yeah.
So is this because that's
what I was wondering. I mean,
does that stack up scientifically?
Well, it doesn't seem to. Does it? The bees must travel at a certain height.
Surely the bee in charge goes, I guess, 3 foot lower, lads. Let's get them on the floor.
But they don't want to get them on the floor because once they've stung you, they're dead. Aren't they a bee? A bee only stings once.
That's why. Yeah.
You know, what a great conversation.
Anyway, was it half a lager for you? Lovely to meet you, mate. I've got to get on with shopping now. You are listening to talkSPORT, and David Pleat's going to join us for a chat. We'll get David's take on the years, of course, of Daniel Levy at the club. Be interesting to see what happens next. Stan Collymore is going to join us for a chat. We're going to talk about those Esri Konsa comments and whether it's a bit damaging for Villa going forward. I mean, not what he said, but the concept of the fact that they are so hamstrung by PSR. It's his club, of course, Stan. And England strikers, God forbid, were Harry Kane to get an injury. Yes. We're not blessed with a lot of great backup strikers. Good forward players, but not necessarily anybody you could do what he does.
I'm very keen on Liam Delap. I think he's really going to develop.
Any more news on him? They think it was a couple of months or something?
No, we don't know. We haven't heard.
Yeah, well, let's hope for the best. So let us know. What interrupted your match? And why do people lie down when there's a swarm of bees? I mean, what else are you going to do? Run around thrashing about? No. That's probably not a good idea either, is it?
No, not right.
Talksport.com, text 1889, tweet TSH and J. Scotland are in action tonight. They get underway. Denmark away. Not an easy game.
No.
But Ali Ross, Tartan Army foot soldier, joins us for a chat ahead of that. Could this be the year? First time since 98 it would be, wouldn't it, for a World Cup? Germany lost last night in their opening game. It's a bit of a shocker.
Third straight defeat.
We're going to talk to Rafi Honigstein about this, and also just some of the comments from players leaving the Bundesliga, Wirtz and Šeško, about the increase in quality as they've come into the Premier League. So that's all to come. Clips of the week, Todd Macklin, Roy Jones Jr. joining us for a chat. So a busy show as always, but we will kick off with David Pleat reflecting on his time under Daniel Levy and looking at his legacy. That's coming up shortly. We're here as always with Tool Station. Next stop, Tool Station.
Personally, I think it's fantastic news for Tottenham Hotspur, and I can only think that hopefully, ideally, we're going to be on the up and up now that he's finally gone.
He's made horrendous management decisions. AVB, sacking Mourinho when he did, Mopo, they're horrendous management decisions. But the bloke has turned Tottenham into a massive world power, like he said.
Spurs is the best run club in the league. And I think most clubs would cry out for what Spurs are off the scene.
We had that name Spursy off the back of this man. We had that name because the way he's run our football club.
I think his time has come. Obviously, he's done a good job in parts. You can't say he hasn't. Built a stadium, made us compete at times. I think there were some errors what he's aware of, like we had potential where we could have built on the Champions League final, getting to that and maybe really pushing on from there.
He has made Tottenham Hotspur an amazing business model, and you have to do that to be successful.
Except, relatively speaking, football-wise, they haven't been successful.
No.
Not in any concentrated kind of way. Certainly more successful than they were before he came in. But anyway, we're going to touch on that with David Pleat in a moment. It's hard to have a sort of balanced, nuanced conversation about someone who's been there for that long because, we're all football fans.
Of course.
Gabby Agbon, Gabby Agbon on Alan Brazil on breakfast this morning. Simon Jordan called in.
Did he?
Former Crystal Palace owner. Yeah, he listened. Hello, lads, love the show. I think he was after the 100 quid's worth of vouchers for caller of the day.
Oh, right.
And he talked about Daniel Levy leaving Spurs.
I would look at this and say probably Joe Lewis or the Lewis family have pushed Daniel. My nose tells me that.
Oh. I could see the pictures, I couldn't hear the sound. Let's get the thoughts now of a man who managed Spurs, was caretaker manager under Daniel Levy, and indeed is director of football. David Pleat. Good afternoon, David.
Yes, good afternoon.
David, were you surprised by the news yesterday?
Yes, I think everyone was surprised, but one shouldn't be too presumptuous. We don't know the circumstances for sure, and we shouldn't draw any conclusions because we don't know what happens between four walls. And obviously, a decision has been taken, and Daniel has withdrawn. So we'll see what happens as time goes on.
You don't sense it was his decision to walk away at this stage, do you?
I don't have that sense to do that. I don't know. We don't know, and all the supporters that ring in, they don't know either. So it's so I can't say whose decision it was at this stage and how it came about. I'm sure over a period of time we will find that out.
What was your experience of working with him, David?
He was a workaholic. He wanted the club to win. He kept a wonderful, sustainable club in terms of turnover. Was well respected by other chairmen, the way he retained such a good business model, in spite of the fact that they had to raise money to build a stadium, which was incredible, and all the difficulties of raising that stadium. If you recall, we had many problems with Haringey Council, many disputes with the local people before we got that stadium up and running. The stadium now, which houses 61,000 people, which only had 35,000 before. So the revenues and also the training ground, which is probably as good as any in the world. So he's left a wonderful legacy and a wonderful starting period for any new era.
He had a reputation for being difficult to deal with, to finish a negotiation.
No more. That's a reputation, I don't know, grown out of a myth somewhere. Every chairman has to look after his own club's business as best as possible, and he has to be as tough as possible. Can you tell me any other chairman? It's just a fact that they say is hard-nosed and tough. All chairmen have to be. They have to be thick-skinned. They have to be able to divert criticism and take criticism on the chin. It's a thankless job at times, being a chairman. The managers get the glory if things go well, not the chairman. And I have to say that over a period of time, he's been no more tough in negotiations than any other chairman protecting his club as custodian of the club. That is what their job is there to do, to make sure their club gets the best deal. And Daniel has been good at it.
There must have been frustrations from his point of view because he built this brilliant infrastructure and he ran the club in a great way and made them profitable, but they could never get sustained, I'm a Tottenham fan, I'll be honest, David, we could never get sustained football success. We never really felt that was being transferred onto the field of play, and that must be a frustration for him as he leaves now.
I would say so, but it's very difficult to marry the two, to get a sustainable business model and very successful on the field. The teams that have done relatively well recently have got mega money, whether it's state money or whether it's from a hedge fund in America or wherever it's come from. I mean, Tottenham have had a lot of managers since 2001 when Daniel walked in the door. We appointed Glenn at that time. Since then, we only had one English manager, which was Harry Redknapp. And when you think of all the names of the people, Nino, there was Ramos, there was Villas-Boas, there's some real failures, and they got the opportunities to manage the club. But unfortunately, they weren't able to bring the success. Daniel wasn't managing the club, and we were buying players. If I remind you of some of the players, wonderful players who thrilled the crowds at White Hart Lane, the Van der Vaarts, the Bales, Janilla, Berbatov, Modric, Carrick, Kane, they've had some great crowd-pleasing players, and the crowds have enjoyed watching them play. But on the other hand, of course, silverware's been elusive.
Considering his reputation for being a great wheeler dealer, Tottenham are not great sellers. I mean, apart from Bale and one or two others you mentioned, Kane. Really,
that's been another criticism, though, what's happened to that money, especially the Bale money.
I mean, also quite a lot of players that when Tottenham do come to sell their players, they're not being sold particularly at a profit. So for a man who had a reputation as a great wheeler dealer, they're not great sellers, the club, David.
That's an interesting one, because I saw an article yesterday in one of the national papers criticising Arsenal Football Club, who've done wonderfully well, been second about 3 consecutive years, which anyone would swap their results for that type of success. And they were being criticised for not selling at a high enough figure. You can't have it always. I mean, we sold, I think, Bale for 86 million. I think we sold Kane, one of our own, for 100 million. Certainly, I remember when Bale left, we did have a splurge of signing players. I can remember one particular player, Chiriquis, I think, a defender. The name just springs to mind. But we signed about 5 players in that period very quickly after the Bale left, and only 2 were successful. One was certainly Eriksson, and the other one reasonably successful was Lamela.
Yeah.
So, but every club has the same problems. I think that if the public knew some of the intricacies of trying to run a club successfully, they would have a more, a mellow view, perhaps that's the wrong word, of how difficult it is to run a club. There are so many parts of a club that have to be looked after. It's not just the team on the field. It's the IT, it's the programs, it's the catering, it's the groundsman. There's 101 difficult things that they have to it's difficult. A chairman can't micromanage. They have to leave the departments to manage, and hopefully they do it successfully.
The trouble is, David, he was so front and centre of all the business decisions and put himself in that situation. He became a lightning rod in the eyes of the fans for everything that was wrong. You know, whether it was his fault or not, he took the blame for it. He took the flak for it. And in the end, the perception of him was, I mean, it was quite toxic, really, between quite a lot of the fan base and Daniel Levy.
Yes, I think at times it was, of course. Whenever things got really tough, there was quite a strong anti-feeling against Daniel. They wanted new owners. You never know what's around the corner. You hope if you get new owners, it's better than what it was before. You never tell. It's easy in hindsight. But they've had some rocky times, but at the same time, they've had some also narrow defeats, in semi-finals. I look back and people talk. We were so close against Liverpool. We didn't play well against Liverpool, but we could have won the Champions League. The difference between an early penalty and whatever. It's so many things that happen in football, which they call margins, fine margins, where things haven't quite gone for the club. All I know is now whoever takes over in ever what capacity, it will be continued to be well run, I'm sure. And one hopes that in the next decade or decades that they will get amongst the silverware. They are still, whatever anyone says, one of the biggest clubs in the country, absolutely for sure.
Do you see him taking another job in football? Do you see him resurfacing again elsewhere?
No, absolutely. I think I can give you a very short answer on that. I would say no.
That's interesting. Finally, what about his relationship with owner Joe Lewis? Did you ever come across him, and how did you view their relationship?
Well, I met Joe Lewis. His family was big Tottenham people, but I can't tell you the intimate details of a relationship like that because I'm not party to it.
Yeah.
But certainly they all are on the same page. They want Tottenham to win, and they want Tottenham to win well. And it is about glory, as Danny Blanchflower said quite rightly. The game is about attaining and glory. But of course, there's another issue. It is also about trying to win things and achieve things and get that pride of being very successful and getting some silverware.
You've written about your time at Tottenham and indeed your whole career in your very entertaining autobiography, Just One More Goal. The paperback's out shortly, David, isn't it? It's been well received. Very well received, isn't it?
Lovely. Yeah, that's nice of you to mention that, Paul. Yeah. Yes, it is. I think it's coming out September the 23rd, and it's more or less it is the last chapter. It's the chapter that I've added to the hardback, and obviously it discusses the review, if you like, for want of a better word, of the very last season last year at Tottenham and how it finished with terrible disappointment in the league position and euphoria after the death. It was rather strange, really.
Yeah. Well, good to talk to you, David. Appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Have a good day.
There we are. Just One More Goal. David's autobiography, say, out in paperback. Very shortly, I think. Later this month. And don't forget, you can check out the talkSPORT Daily podcast, all the best reaction to Daniel Levy leaving Spurs from across the station in the past 24 hours. It's on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcasts. Germany beaten last night. Bit of a shocker. I'm going to be reacting to that. And Roy Jones Jr. joining us for a boxing chat as well.
Had a look. Forget a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke. Try a blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day on the side of a cliff in the Faroe Islands in Euro 2000 qualifying. The pitch at Toftir was like a cow field, never mind those gale force winds. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time. Cue Scandi scenes. But away trips don't come tougher than playing Bolivia at altitude in La Paz. Or so we thought. The Bolivians have now taken home advantage to another level, literally 500 metres further up the Andes to the country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Meanwhile, the loudest stadium in world football officially is the Ali Sami Yen, where Galatasaray fans set a world record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead. But our most intimidating away day is in Wales. Prison team HMP Prescoed was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
Now, however you watch TV, you can watch talkSPORT from Samsung and LG TVs to Fire TV, Chromecast and Apple TV, or just grab the app on Android TV or Google TV. We're even on Prime Video. That's talkSPORT live on your screen as well as your speakers. Now, proud record fell last night. Quite incredible record. Germany had not lost an away World Cup qualifier until last night. They defeated Slovakia. Really? 52 games.
That's incredible.
Julian Nagelsmann, the coach, was not happy, hinting that he felt his players had lacked desire. Here to chat about that. And indeed, some comments from players coming from the Bundesliga into the Premier League in recent weeks is Raphael Honigstein, German football expert. Hi, Rafi.
Hello, boys.
That is a quite incredible record. I had no idea that was a first. I mean, what are the shockwaves like in Germany today?
It was, yeah. No longer is.
No.
Worse than that was the performance. People were scratching their head and wondering whether this was the worst ever performance from Germany under Nagelsmann, or the 2-0 defeat by Austria in November 2023 it was. It was really abject. And I think the qualifying group is such that Germany will still be okay, but on the evidence of this performance, there are so many problems, both in a collective sense and individually, that people were really shocked in the sense that Germany looked miles off. And this is after Nagelsmann promised that we're not going to the US to participate, we're going there to win not long ago, but we look as if we might not get there. Wow. We're playing.
What is the feeling then in Germany about the job that Nagelsmann is doing sort of broadly?
Well, up until yesterday, I think it was broadly positive because the Euros, even though it wasn't a success in terms of results, getting knocked out in the quarters is not something that Germany can be proud of, especially on home soil. But there was a real momentum. There was positivity. The team were liked. The football was good. It was exciting. And since then, really, it's been treading water. They didn't play very well in the Nations League finals, where they lost both games to Portugal and France. And now this was supposed to be the new start and the restart and the start of the run up to the World Cup. And again, it threw up so many questions individually in terms of the system, so many issues, so many problem areas that you don't even know where to begin. Nagelsmann, I think, chose kind of an easy way out by talking about mentality, something that resonates with people at home. You know, whenever England lose, the first thing people say is they don't want it enough. They don't fight hard enough for the shirt. It was all that kind of rhetoric. And some of the players agreed, but I think it's just scratching the surface. And it was the easy thing to say in many ways. There are quite big problems with this team.
And there's been some very interesting stuff, and this might feed into it as well, the national team, about the Bundesliga. Players coming from there into the Premier League, A, looking a bit like it's a bit of a shock to the system, and B, admitting it and saying that, you know, like in this case of Šeško, it's a completely different standard.
Yeah, Vert said something quite similar, getting used to the sort of relentlessness, the intensity of it. And we look at the Bundesliga and feel it's a league of high quality, but maybe we just take for granted just how relentless the Premier League is, and there is a period of adaptation.
I think that's always been the case. You know, I don't think that's anything new. You need to adjust. The refereeing is different. The space and time that you have, the physicality is different. I wouldn't say it's a million miles away from the Bundesliga, but of course it is a step up in quality. It's a bit like playing a Champions League or a Europa League game every single week, and that is something different, especially if you come from a club like Stuttgart or Leverkusen, who, despite their recent success, are not really used to playing at this level and playing a game that they have to win every single week. So it is a bit of a shock to the system. And I think what's different and what's I don't want to say a problem, but it's going to be a challenge for some of the new batch, if you will. They've gone to the Premier League quite early. It used to be that you had to be 25, 26. You were fully rounded. You were a very experienced player. At the peak of your powers, then you go to the Premier League and you're ready for it. And now these guys are 22. And in the case of Woltemade, he's had half a season at Bundesliga level. And now he's supposed to lead the attack for Newcastle and for Germany indeed. And he was very anonymous. And I think that is a really tall order. And if you combine that with a transfer fee, which of course is not their problem and not their fault, that suddenly the transfer fee has exploded and Woltemade is nearly as expensive as Harry Kane was 2 years ago, which is absolutely insane if you think about it. It puts him in a spotlight, in a very uncomfortable spot, I think.
I was going to ask you about Woltemade because last night probably would have been the first time a lot of Newcastle fans had seen him play, and they would have thought, But to be fair, it wasn't a great team performance. But you're right, Raf. It's such a lot of responsibility, isn't it, for a young guy to come in and expect to lead the line in the Premier League. It's going to be tough. I'm sure you'll call on the Newcastle fans maybe to cut him a bit of slack and give him a bit of time.
They will have to, and the same is true of Šeško. You know, Šeško is 22 as well, and if he was the fully rounded, superb sort of Lewandowski, Harry Kane type striker, he would have gone to Barcelona. He would have gone to Real Madrid. Bayern would have pushed really hard, but that wasn't the case. And you're buying the potential. You're buying the player that he might be in 2 or 3 years' time, especially with centre forward. It's one of my sort of theories that they tend to peak a little bit later. They tend to really come into their own when they're 25, 26, 27. You look only at Lewandowski at the age of 22, he was miles off the player that he is today or that he used to be a couple of years ago. So I think it's really hard. And we saw with Rasmus Højlund how players can be eaten up by that expectation to lead the line for such a historic big club when they're not quite ready for it yet. So either you have to decide, okay, these guys are going to take a bit of betting in, or you say, no, we need the goal straight away. And then you have to, I think, spend money on different players. You have to pay on somebody who's ready now to score these goals. These guys, you look at the numbers, they haven't done it. So why would they do it all of a sudden in a league that is more difficult or with teams that are struggling to score the same amount of goals that perhaps they would have scored elsewhere?
Interesting to see how Jackson goes for Bayern. I think
that will be interesting. Just on Bayern, last 24 hours, Rafi, finally, there's been a few stories suggesting that Harry Kane wants to finish his time at Bayern at the end of this season and return to the Premier League. What have they been saying in Germany about that?
It's not a story that we've, I think, seen a lot of in Germany at the moment. It's no, I think, big secret that people in Germany don't expect Harry Kane to see out his career at Bayern necessarily. There was always a chance. I think Bayern are braced for the, shall we say, possibility that he will leave perhaps slightly earlier than his contract. His contract runs till 2027, so one way or the other, I think both he and the club need to take a view on this fairly soon. And the fact that they were pushing for somebody who can be both a backup and an understudy for Kane. They looked at Šeško, they looked at Woltemade, they ended up with Jackson with a obligation, which is kind of a soft obligation to buy. Suggests that Bayern, I think, are aware of the possibility that Kane might go in a year or two, and they need to plan for the future slightly. But at the same time, he is so good that anyone who comes in, and I would put Jackson firmly in that bracket, will have to play around Kane rather than really compete. There's absolutely no chance that Jackson will have the opportunity to displace Kane. He will have to play alongside him or ahead of him, or give Kane the occasional breather when he misses a game or two. But he is very much there to be the backup and maybe his eventual successor, but we're still quite far off that.
Thanks, Raf. Good to talk to you as always. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Raphael Honigstein there.
He wouldn't come back to Spurs, though, would he? I don't think so.
There's some talk about Manchester United, isn't there? I don't know if Tottenham have got first refusal.
That seems the most likely. But,
I've got no idea. I mean, obviously a lot of family and their immediate family are still in London, but that wouldn't be a problem. They've gone and lived in Germany. So, but there we are. Our thanks to Raf there, getting us up to speed on everything that's going on in the world of German football.
Don't write them off.
You can't write the Germans.
He can't.
And they're in Northern Ireland's group, haven't they? Got to be playing them somewhere along the line, which will be entertaining. Roy Jones Jr., 4-weight world champion, joins us for a bit of a chat. An uplifting story from the world of boxing, and a slightly less uplifting one. As we hear, it's going to be Mayweather Tyson. Yeah, not sure. We'll get the thoughts of Roy Jones Jr. In a few moments' time. We're here with our very good friends at Tool Station. Stay one step ahead, whatever the job. Next stop, Tool Station. Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. I'll have some clips of the week for you later on, and we'll be building up to the return of the WSL tonight. Before that, though, boxing, and a rather beautiful story from the world of boxing. One of the great travesties of Olympic boxing, Olympic judging, was how Roy Jones Jr. didn't win gold in Seoul in 1988. He beat our own Richie Woodall in the semi-final, but fought a South Korean. Of course, that's where the Olympics were. Park Si-hun in the final. And despite all the evidence of your own eyes, Park was given the fight. After that, 3 of the 5 officials were either suspended or banned for life for their appalling judging. But that didn't help Roy, who didn't have the gold medal. But he has revealed a rather lovely gesture from Park Si-hun. And we're delighted to say that Roy Jones Jr., 4-weight world champion, joins us now. Hi, Roy.
How you doing?
Yeah, we're good. This is a lovely story. Boxing doesn't always have lovely stories like this, but you've revealed that Park and his son came to visit you and reached out, and you got your medal ultimately.
Yes, got the medal. He came back and delivered it to me, and that's pretty awesome. So, I mean, for me, it's crazy because it shows you that God always is there. God always knows. God knows your struggle more than you do. And he always has a time for you. So you just have to be patient, wait your time, and you just never know.
You must have been so crushed afterwards. Obviously, this was your life. It was going to be your career, I'm sure. And look, you went on to have a great career, but still in the moment, it must have been a terrible feeling to have been robbed of a fight you knew you'd won.
It was a horrible feeling to experience something like that at 19 years old. You got to add that in too. So as a young kid who has dedicated his whole life to winning that gold medal, and to have it stolen from you was a very brutal thing.
Did he feel guilty? Is that why he brought the medal to you? I presume it must have been, really.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure he probably does have some form of guilt, but I felt bad for him too because he really went through some horrible experiences because of that medal. And here's what we have to realize. The main thing is that he did not choose to make that decision. Someone else made the decision for him. He didn't choose to do that. So right after the fight, I had a interpreter to ask him if he thought he wanted to fight. When she asked him, he said no, he didn't win the fight. So I shook his hand and I had no more beef with him from that point forward.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I realized not only was God doing a work in me, but God was sending me to a place that I would not have gone had I gotten that gold medal. Yeah. So what happened was, it's like we pay big footballers or big people to do a job. Once you get paid the big money, now you got to go out there and earn the money. So by them giving me the Val Barker Cup, which meant I was the best fighter at the Olympics, but not having a gold medal, I got to go out there and show the world that I am the best boxer, period. Yeah. So this Val Barker Cup wasn't given to me just because my name is Roy Jones Jr. or just because they stole my gold medal. It was given to me because I truly am the best boxer in the world. Yeah. So I had to go out there now and prove that. So they took my gold medal, but they gave me the Val Barker Cup, which put pretty much even a bigger responsibility on me. Without that responsibility, if I had a gold medal and the Val Barker Cup, what else I got to prove? Yeah. Nothing. I got a gold medal. I got everything I was looking for. But God knew me better than I knew myself. So right away, when I got home, I realized, you know what? This is actually probably the best thing that could have happened to you. Because now God going to turn you on high because he knows that you're not going to be happy with a silver medal. You got to go prove to the world that you are the Val Barker Cup winner. Yeah. And that's what I did.
That is a very good point.
Out of interest, Roy, did you give him your silver medal? Did you swap medals?
I'm going to give him his silver medal.
Yeah. Yes, well, yes. You know what I mean,
I haven't given it to him yet.
No.
But there's a friend of mine that is trying to organize it so that we can get together and meet again.
Yeah.
And I can publicly present him with the silver medal.
I'm sure we just showed some footage on our screens here of you in tears when you met Park and his son and you were given the medal. And I imagine you were as moved as much by the gesture as receiving it, Roy, because he's come all the way from South Korea with his son and it's obviously eaten him up for a lot of years. And it was a beautiful moment.
It was one of the most beautiful moments of my life, but it caught me off guard. It completely shocked me. I had no clue that was going to happen at that time. I knew he wanted to at some point, but I thought it would never happen because I thought we were probably going to try to wait for the IOC to do it because the guy said that, through his son who interprets for him, that his biggest thing is he didn't want to die a gold medalist. He wants to die as a silver medalist, not a gold medalist. And that says a lot about him and his character.
It does.
Absolutely. Now, a few years back, you fought Mike Tyson in an exhibition match. He's going again, this time with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he's a fair bit older, 5 years on from when he fought you. What do you make of this fight? How do you feel about this fight, Roy?
I mean, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm the type of guy, I don't hate on nobody. And I don't want to hate on nobody because I'm not really a hater like that. So it's like, if they're going to do it and make it something big for the public to see, and they're going to make money doing it, my hat goes off to them, more power to them. I'm not that kind of guy. You know, it's like, you can sit there and pick it apart and say, well, Mike didn't look good against Jake, or this and that, or that and that, but it's not that. It's like, maybe he had a bad night. We'll see what happens this time. So you should never hate on anybody making money in the sport, because that's what this sport is for. But my hat goes off to him. It's funny, but that they would announce it the week of all the chaos I got going on, and the week before the Canelo fight. But somebody told me that there was going to be a big announcement like that coming around the time of the Canelo fight, and there it is. So that somebody was correct.
Right. Well, let's ask you before we let you go about Canelo Crawford next week. It is an intriguing matchup, and you're pretty well placed to tell us how you see it going. So how do you see this one turning out?
Man, I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings, and emotionally, I'm very happy that the fight is happening because it's a great fight for both fighters. Initially, I thought maybe Canelo didn't have the hunger to go out there and really try to keep Bud off him or try to go at Bud, When I heard he had Jerron Enos in camp, it made me realize that he really is trying to prepare for Bud, because Jerron Enos is probably the only other person that can really logically and realistically fight left-handed or right-handed, which is what he's going to see from Bud. That lets me know that Canelo is taking it serious. If Canelo's taking it serious, it's going to be a much harder fight for Bud than I anticipated. I still think Bud has the skill to beat anybody on any night, but so does Canelo. So this makes it a much more intriguing fight for me. It's hard to really pick a winner now. I was kind of leaning more toward Bud in the beginning, but now I see that Canelo is taking it really serious. It's a little bit harder because Canelo has been at that weight for some time. Bud is just not coming to that weight. So Canelo is comfortable in the weight. Bud is comfortable in the ring. That being said, it's just going to be who can be most comfortable that night. And I don't know who that's going to be right now.
It's going to be intriguing. Well, Roy, it's lovely to talk to you. Appreciate your time and enjoy that gold medal. It's a lovely story. Thanks very much.
And thank you guys for having me. I love coming over to the UK. I enjoy you guys at talkSPORT. And what's up, Spencer?
Take care. Thank you, Roy.
Thanks, Roy.
Roy Jones Jr. there. Thanks to him. Now, this Saturday, rising Brit and Olympic silver medalist Pat McCormick faces seasoned Mexican Miguel Parra for the WBA Intercontinental Welterweight title showdown, and you can watch that only on DAZN.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
Toffees to the Tractor Boys, the Eagles to the Seagulls, Gunners, Bees, Hammers and Magpies, Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Let's start with Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were two local toffee shops. Ye Ancient Everton Toffee House and Mother Noblet's Toffee Shop were big fan favourites. Next, they say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em, and that's exactly what Ipswich Town did when it came to their nickname. The term Tractor Boys used to be chanted by their opponents as a way of putting the team down for their farming background. But during one game back in the late 90s, Ipswich were 1-0 up and they decided to flip the script. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys, they sang, and a new nickname was born. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire is also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Next up, turns out apples are not the only fruit that don't fall far from the tree. Bournemouth's nickname, the Cherries, comes from the fact the club's stadium was originally built right next to a bunch of cherry orchards. This next story actually involves two club nicknames. It started with Crystal Palace. They were having an absolute nightmare run back in the early 70s. They'd been relegated after a terrible spell and manager Malcolm Allison decided enough was enough. He wanted a new nickname, something strong, fast and destined for success. Something exactly like an eagle. But there's more to this one. Brighton were in search of a nickname too, and Palace finally gave them what they needed. In a heated match between the two back in 1976, Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles." And some clever Brighton fans came up with the perfect reply, "Seagulls, Seagulls." Not all club nicknames have a crazy story though. Take the Gunners. That just comes from the fact a group of munitions workers in the Royal Arsenal factory in Woolwich set up the club in 1886. On the flip side, some nicknames seem simple, but there's a bit more to them, like West Ham. The Hammers is actually nothing to do with the ham part of the name. It comes from the fact the club used to be called Thames Ironworks FC and was made up of workmen and shipbuilders. So next time the away end's chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Yes, time now for today's Bet Builder with our friends at Paddy Power. We welcome Max Thompson and we're going to look forward to tomorrow afternoon's World Cup qualifier between England and Andorra Villa Park. Hi, Max.
Hey, mate, how are you?
Yeah, not so bad. So let's just remind everybody how the Bet Builder concept works.
Yep, so we'll have 5 selections here into this Bet Builder. So we have a selection from the people. That's the most popular pick. I've got a selection. Paul's got a selection. Andy's got a selection. And the producer has a selection. All those come together into a Bet Builder with all the proceeds going to the Attitude Foundation.
OK, I'll kick us off. Noni Madueke's made a pretty decent start for Arsenal. And he laid on that goal, the one we needed, the breakthrough goal for Kane against Andorra last time out. So I'm going to go with Madueke to score or assist any time.
Yeah, there was a bit of a debate over his signing for the Arsenal, but I actually think he's been really impressive as well. I think he's a really good player. Like you said before there, he got the assist last time these sides played each other. He laid it off to Harry Kane, who scored. So you'd fancy him to either get himself on the target or assist in this one.
Yeah, so...
it was a close game last time, but surely England are going to score some more goals than they did. So I've gone over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, over 2.5 goals here. Only 1-0 last time. But back in England this time around, you'd expect them to be a bit more free-flowing. It's obviously in Villa Park, not Wembley, so that might add a little bit more to it. And we're really looking for the performances to step up under Thomas Tuchel. Last competitive game, they beat Latvia 3-0, so there was over 2.5 goals in that one. But you'd expect Tuchel to get them playing here in this one.
Producer Sean's a Gooner, and he's got his Gooner hat on when he says Eze to assist any time.
Yeah, great player. Eze, impressive obviously for Palace last season. Got 8 assists for them. and he got his big move to the Arsenal. So you'd expect him to be involved in this one and take that form back to his club.
One of the more popular bets then from the Paddy punters who are having a bet builder is the people's pick, Kane to have 2+ shots on target.
Yeah, they've gone for the star man, Harry Kane. Back to last time these sides played each other, he had 3 shots on target. So you'd expect him to test the Andorra goalkeeper in this one again.
And what have you gone with, Max?
Yeah, I've gone with Harry Kane, first goal scorer. There's a bit of value in this one. Back to when they played last time, it was 1-0 and Harry Kane got the goal. So you'd expect him to be on the target against Andorra and hopefully drive England to victory.
So if that all comes off, then if we get all those over the line, what are we looking at odds wise?
Yeah, we're looking at this bet builder to coming at around 5.7 to 1. So a £10 bet would return £67 hopefully for charity.
Nice one. Yeah, we've not been too bold, but you don't have to be sometimes. You know, that's just a solid bet builder. Nice one, Max. Enjoy the game. All the best.
Cheers, guys. You too.
Max Thompson there from Paddy Power. That's Paddy's bet builder for today. Minimum odds 1 to 5 per leg. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
We're going to have a chat with former Leeds player and commentator Lucy Ward a little bit later on. WSL returns tonight. We've got loads of WSL games for you throughout the season. It's a massive game tonight. Chelsea versus Manchester City.
I think it's going to be much closer this year. I think Chelsea start the season with 3 big injuries.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's a tough game tonight.
Kevin Hatchard, your commentator, the former New Zealand international Rebecca Smith alongside him for that match, live on talkSPORT 2, 7:30. But this is a nice story from the world of women's football. I mean, this is a story of somebody they call Jackie Grealish. That's not a real name, obviously. Jackie Freeman. She played a lot of football in her youth to a decent standard, went away, had a family, but has returned to the game, age 59. And
I think slightly older now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She did return to the game 59 and she's still playing. Anyway, she'll tell us more. Hello, Jackie.
Hello.
Well, look, so tell us, I mean, you say you played for Borough, didn't you, back in the day? You played at a pretty decent level. So what brought you out of retirement?
Pressure from the husband and the children, well, grown-up children now. Just kept on at me saying, all I do is work. Said, why don't you go back to football? And then one day there was the team I play for now, the manager was on the radio and advertising for players. So I thought, oh, right, okay, I'll go along. And then that was it. I was back into it.
Wow. How long was the gap? And were you a bit rusty when you first put the boots on?
Very rusty, yes. I still am a bit rusty, but I'm getting fitter.
That's good.
Yeah. It was, I think I've been out the game 35 plus years.
Wow.
And,
I mean, such massive changes, isn't it, in women's football now? I mean,
yeah, and I look so tired. It's been a hectic week. I've had no sleep hardly because of all the press I've had. It's been brilliant for the club as well.
Well, it's a nice story. It's a nice story that, you know, as Andy said, the game has changed so much. I mean, I've read some quotes from you saying you wanted to play back in the day with the boys and they wouldn't let you. And of course now there's so many opportunities for girls to play football, and it's lovely that you can come out of retirement and play to a pretty decent standard all these years on.
It is. It's great, and the comments I get is it's amazing, and I'm really overwhelmed by it all.
It's the Redcar Town Ladies Development FC is your team. I'm looking at the team shot. Yeah. In the nicest possible way, Jackie, you do look a little bit older than most of the rest of the team.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah. But they're good. They're good with you, are they? Were there any people when you first came over to train with the team? Were they very welcoming, or were they?
Yeah. No, they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They just don't treat me any differently to any other of the players. Everyone's treated the same. It's great, and I love it.
What about the opposition when you turn up? They give you a bit of a second look? Or?
Yeah, but I think some of them look at me as I say, she looks a bit old. But the comments I get at every game we've played, at the end of every match, there's always somebody comes up to me Either the players or their managers have commented on my playing. Even some referees have commented on me, and some people know me that I think, well, how do they know me? But the word's got around, I think. And,
that's great, though, isn't it?
And it's lovely.
They call you Jackie Grealish. Is that? Do you play on the wing? Is that you a bit of a tricky winger? Is that your game?
I play midfield mostly.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, but they nicknamed me Jackie Grealish because my name's Jackie.
Yes.
One of the girls started singing Jackie Grealish, Jackie Grealish. Then it stuck, so they all sing it now.
Had you kept your fitness up with sort of classes and gym and that sort of thing, or
we train on a Thursday evening.
Yeah.
I should do more. Sometimes I find it hard to motivate myself to do extra.
Right.
Because of work.
But in that period where you weren't playing, Jackie, had you kept relatively fit or not?
No, very, very rarely. Now and again, I'd do something, but I wasn't regular at keeping fit. No, and I put quite a bit of weight on. I've lost a little bit now, but I still could lose a few pounds.
any other footballers in the family, men or women?
No, I mean my brothers. I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters, but some of them have passed away now. But we used to play together when we were little. All of us used to play down our backfield, and but like none of them went into football. Signing for anybody apart from me.
And we're going to the Women's Super League again tonight. We've got £1 million players coming out of areas all of a sudden. Their profile of the league, TV coverage. Radio commentary here on talkSPORT. I mean, the way the game has changed, and the Lionesses wins. It's a good news story, isn't it, for women's football?
It is. It's brilliant. I mean, years ago there was no press at all, and now it's we get as much press as the men, I think now.
And you're going to keep going. You're into the new season. You're just going to keep playing till you don't want to play anymore.
Until I drop.
Not until you drop.
Don't do that.
Not until you dropped. Until you drop. Okay, fair enough.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Lovely to talk to you, Jackie. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks very much. Have a good season.
Thank you for having me.
There we are. There's Jackie Freeman there. Jackie Grealish to her teammates at Redcar Town. So best of luck. What a good story that is.
Yeah. Too late for me to make my comeback.
It isn't, Andy. You could definitely come out of retirement. You're a decent goalie, you were, Andy. We played
on the short side.
Yeah, but we played in that sort of around the Champions League a few years back, and even Graham Lasso thought you were pretty handy in goal. That's not bad. He's a pretty good judge of a player.
I'm a bit like Areola, though. I look like Ronnie Corbett when I'm in goal. You need a bit of size.
Made some good saves. Anyway, Stan Collymore is going to join us.
Easily lobbed, I think you'll find.
Yeah, well, I mean, they weren't full-size goals. They were like those big five-a-side goals, so you filled him. It wasn't so bad. He did make some good stops. Anyway, we're going to be having a chat with Stan Collymore a little bit later on. We're going to look at a bit of a window reflection. England strikers, we're going to be looking ahead to the game against Andorra tomorrow. As we said, later on, Lucy Wall joining us for a chat ahead of our commentary game tonight, Chelsea versus City, as the WSL returns. We're here as always with our good friends at Tool Station, ready to help at over 580 stations nationwide. Next stop, Tool Station. Now, do you want the chance to win £25,000 in cash plus Oasis tickets to their very last show at Wembley on the 27th of September? We're working on the basis you've just said yes to that. Well, we're giving you that chance with our biggest competition yet. 2 lucky winners will win a pair of tickets to see Oasis live at Wembley for the last time. But that's not all. Along with the tickets, one of you will walk away with a massive £25,000 in cash. And for all the details on how to enter, listen up right now, because you could be one of those lucky winners.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Stan Collymore joining us to talk about England strikers beyond Kane, the window, his beloved Villa and their PSR issues, and Ezri Konsa's comments about how badly the team's been affected. And that's all coming up. Now, Andy and I used to enjoy a little feature in Sports Illustrated called Sign of the Sporting Apocalypse, where they would find a story that would make you a touch depressed, a bit like Mayweather versus Tyson.
Absolutely.
Whatever Roy said he was being. Roy Jones Jr. joined us earlier on. You'll hear that in the podcast, being quite diplomatic about that matchup. There's some comments from Fernando Alonso, head of Monza, the Italian Grand Prix, saying that he's worried about this rush headlong into attracting a younger audience. There's been some talk about F1 races being too long because young people have short attention spans and they can't sit still potentially for 1.5, 1 3/4 hours to watch a race. I mean, it's interesting. George Russell, when asked about it, as a much younger man, said, yeah, maybe potentially some of the races are too long. Singapore's over 2 hours and all that. We shouldn't close our eyes to the sport. We shouldn't say it's always been this way, so why should it stay that way? But Alonso talks about let's not kick out the traditions of the sport. And it just strikes me that when you sort of rush headlong into that sort of drive to survive generation, the idea is that, you know, they're always going to stick with it. What then if they move on? Their attention span is so bad, how long are they going to be interested in F1?
I don't.
They move on to another sport.
I do think there's an element, though, of older people picking on this Gen Z generation. Because I've got 3 stories here. One, they're such picky eaters. They find it difficult to choose a meal.
Yeah.
And
I'm not.
Then I've got one. They like ice in their beer, which is a bit mad.
Yeah.
And they've got fuel anxiety. They get frightened about.
Doesn't anybody?
What? No, I don't mean running out of petrol. Actually going to the garage and putting it in the car.
Fueling? Is that what they call it? Fuel anxiety.
But just there's an element of picking on this generation. In a way.
No, it's great that a young man like you should stand up for. The Gen Z. It's marvellous. But within sport, I mean, I think the point has been. Alonso was making the point. He says, "Look, football matches are still 90 minutes. No one's sitting there saying." We should have 60-minute football.
David Dean is.
Yeah, David Dean is. And it's only a matter of time before Donald Trump says he'd like to see a 60-minute football match and Infantino will just do it immediately, overnight. He'll call David Ellery and Collymore in and say, right, it's an hour maximum from now on. But, yeah, there is a bit of a sign of the sporting apocalypse. I'm not saying, it isn't a long time.
But, there is a definite generation gap because yesterday Chelsea announced that all the Champions League tickets are on sale.
Yeah.
You should have seen the website. And, these were obviously older people like myself. It took me half an hour to work out how to get the tickets.
Has it changed then? Have they changed the way they're doing it?
It was just really tricky. There came this thing where...
You Silver Surfers?
It said renew season ticket. And you think, what does that mean? And you press that, and that was your ticket bundle.
Really?
Yeah, it was so
that's Chelsea's fault.
It's not just me. I mean, loads of people were complaining about it. But then on the other hand, I've had this situation with Brentford that I told you that I can't, like I've done the last 3 years, just give my season ticket to the bloke that sits next to me who I really like and he brings his dad or brings a kid or something like that.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that now.
No.
I've got to actually put it on some sort of ticket exchange and that's it. And it's really frustrating. 47
Most clubs are doing that. It's changed.
No, Chelsea allow you to do it. It just drives me mad. I said to them, look, these are my tickets. What can I do with what I want to with my ticket?
I think
they said fan groups had signed off on it, and that was the end of the argument, I suppose.
I think what happens is, to paraphrase an old sort of business saying, I think the Premier League chairmen come together and they share worst practice as opposed to best practice. They all come together and they say, well, my lot are doing this, and it's gone all right. They say, oh, right, we'll all do it then.
Yeah.
We had a situation where you could pass on a season ticket to somebody you knew as long as they had a kind of customer number, a Tottenham customer number. That they didn't have to be a member.
It is similar with Brentford, but for Category A games, I wanted to give him my ticket for the Chelsea game because it's not worth me going there. Let it stick. So so it's better for somebody else to go, and I'll just have to put it on the exchange. That's it.
Yeah,
it's really frustrating.
Can he not get it on the exchange?
Well, not guaranteed. How can he guarantee it?
The other thing, you sit with him and you say, well, I'm putting it on now. Then you press the mouse, Andy. You're very computer literate. I'm sure you can do that.
I did think of actually going down there. They said I could do this, get somebody else in and then go home. But it's a bit of an effort to do that, really.
That'd be very kind of you. A match you're not going to stand outside the gates, then go home.
A bit mad, really. But
yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm sure we'll get round it. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yes, I mean, we were conjecturing what might happen to ex-Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. And
were we?
Well, I was.
Oh, okay, yeah. You told me yourself.
I did wonder if she'd end up on talk radio. Often people who are in the public. I don't think so.
I can't see the political.
I've suggested to management she does a new cricket show, Rayner Stop Play.
Yeah.
I thought that might work.
Or she just runs constantly on the pitches and... No, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to work, is it, really?
Let's move on, shall we? Stan Collymore is going to join us for a chat next. We're going to talk all matters football, get his reflections on who's best suited to go on and win stuff after the window's closed. We'll talk a bit of England ahead of Andorra, what he'd like to see.
Did you see lots of sporting tributes to the late Giorgio Armani as well? That was nice.
Okay.
Formula One driver Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
Juventus. He had his own basketball team. Aurelio De Laurentiis from Napoli Football Club.
Yeah.
All paying tribute to him.
Was he a Juve fan, was he?
Don't know. I thought he was a Milan fan.
We kidded out plenty of football teams, didn't he, over the years?
He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
You were a fan, were you, Andy?
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
The man who worked in the rag trade.
Changed the way people dress. I mean, no question about it.
Did he? Were you aware of Armani?
He get me banned from the RAC, though. That's another story altogether.
Oh, okay, fair
I told
enough.
the other day.
How'd you get banned from the RAC? You mean the RAC club, not being a member of the RAC?
No.
How bad have you got to be when your car breaks down to get banned from the RAC? He meant the club.
I did.
Anyway, Stan Collymore joins us in a few moments' time. Later on, we're going to talk Scotland. They kick off their World Cup qualifying against Denmark this evening in Denmark. Ali Ross joins us from the Tartan Army, and we'll have some clips of the week. Plus, we'll continue the build-up to the WSL. Chelsea City tonight, live on talkSPORT 2.
Ryder Cup. Unique, euphoric, unanimously loved. Here's the history and some of the key numbers behind the contest that grips the world of golf and beyond like no other. The first edition was held in 1927, where a Great Britain team arrived by boat to play in Massachusetts at the Worcester Country Club. Originally, the competition comprised of 4 foursomes and 8 singles, with 4 balls not introduced until 1963. In the first 22 editions, when it was just Brits and Irish against the US, America only lost 3. So, in 1979, in came the rest of Europe, including the future 5-time Ryder Cup winner, Seve Ballesteros. Since Team Europe was established, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Home advantage is a big deal. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012, and America hasn't won on European soil since '93 at the Belfry. It's accepted that both teams tailor their home courses to suit their own players. For example, in Paris in 2018, Thomas Bjorn asked for the rough to be kept extra long beyond the green to target the big booming American drives. 10 years earlier, Paul Azinger did the opposite, and the Valhalla rough was trimmed right down. On both occasions, the home side were resounding winners. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. In the US, the PGA America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million. But no Ryder Cup revenue has ever gone directly to individual players. That's until now. In 2025, for the first time ever, the US team will each receive a fee for playing in New York. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the sheer thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Now, former Burnley and Everton manager Sean Dyche is back on talkSPORT for 3 hours this Sunday alongside Johnny Owen. You can tune in for Sean's take on player power, Daniel Levy's shock exit from Spurs, whether he's keen to get back into the dugout, plus an exclusive chat with the only man to lead Wales to a World Cup since 1958, Rob Page, who's with Liverpool under-21s currently. So Johnny Owen and Sean Dyche this Sunday from midday on talkSPORT. Joining us now for a bit of a chat. We're going to kick off talking Armani suits because I believe he has quite a celebrated one still in his wardrobe. It is former Liverpool England striker Stan Collymore. Hi, Stan.
Paul, Andy, how are we?
Yeah, good. You kept your infamous white suit from '96 from Wembley, have you?
Yes, but a player that you would know well because he's been at your lot. Disposed of us in a rather interesting way. Basically, FA Cup final, Manchester United, Liverpool, country's 2 biggest clubs, 1996. David James was modelling for Armani. You know when you go into the shop and you see, it doesn't matter, it's Calvin Klein, Armani, you see the model's torso, beautiful torso on the box, and it was David James. And he had some torso on him, trust me. And he was modelling for Armani. So we have a conversation. He comes in one day and he says, Giorgio Armani wants to make the suits for the FA Cup final. All the lads went, brilliant, amazing. John Barnes, that was known for his rather garish choice of suits. I remember him coming into Anfield. When we played away games, we would wear tracksuits, official club tracksuit. When we played at home games at Anfield, you could wear your own suits. And I saw John Barnes turn up in a canary yellow suit that had designer rips all the way through. Wow. So that's the bar we're kind of looking at. John Barnes is the captain of the club. So we get to the point, JMO said, people from Armani are going to come in to Melwood, the old training ground, and measure everybody up for the suits. Monday morning, just before we go out for training, 10 o'clock. Didn't think anything else of it. We get in about 10 o'clock and there's all these swatches on tables of different colours, navy blues, greys, and there was cream. So all the lads are having a sort of look and going, well, summertime, you know, last game of the season, a bit different. And in walks Giorgio Armani.
Wow.
And, you know, I've been very fortunate in my life to meet some very famous people, you two included. And Giorgio Armani walking in, and I can see him now, like black shirt, he had his belt classically very tight and his jeans quite high, and that beautiful permatan. And I stood there as Giorgio Armani and one of his flunkies measured my hit to wherever it was. It's just one of those life experiences where, firstly, I'm at Liverpool Football Club. Secondly, I'm the sort of national record transfer. Thirdly, I'm around all of these players like Ian Rush that I remember watching from the old end. Rushy scored an hat-trick for Liverpool against Villa when I was about 13, 14, and Giorgio Armani. And I'm like, does life get any more surreal? So we knock it around, have the debate about what we're going to have. Roy Evans, Doug Livermore and the legendary Ronnie Moran probably saw the writing on the wall if we lost the game. So they chose I think it was a very sober grey or navy blue for their suits. And JMO said, what does everybody think about cream? We went for cream, lost the game. That was against Man United. Eric Cantona scored late. And it was forever used as the reason that we lost the game. If we'd have won it, nobody would have cared. But as it was, we'll be remembered on that day as looking like Fat Larry's jazz band.
Does it still fit, Stan? Do you ever slip it on
It
now?
does. Do you know what? I have still got it. I do want to donate it, if they'll have it, to either the Liverpool Museum. I'm not sure with all of their Champions League trophies and FIFA World Cups club trophies, they'll want it. But certainly I think that the National Football Museum may want to, because it is a part of English footballing heritage and culture. It's cream. It's got a lovely blue shirt, Armani shirt, red and white striped tie, and even Ray-Bans were our official eyewear sponsor. So you can imagine. But yes, I still have it, and it still fits. And if you're listening at the National Football Museum, please take it off my hands. But very briefly, we had the dinner, meant to be a celebration dinner, at the night in our London hotel. We'd lost the game, so it was a bit mooted. And we all came down for dinner, meet down at dinner for 8 p.m. And Neil Ruddock came down. He'd cut the trousers off from the knees and he'd pulled the arms off his. So he came down looking like Fred Flintstone. So his no longer exists, but mine does.
He hasn't changed.
I mean, it's very generous of you because memorabilia-wise, that would go for a lot of money, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there was one, I don't know, it was this summertime where in some cup finals, some team wore similar coloured suits, and I got loads of tweets saying, "Oh, it's the Liverpool 1996 thing." But it's a Liverpool United Cup final. They don't happen that often. I remember there's a side to that actually. Although the game wasn't a great one, Roy Keane has gone on record to say it was the most difficult game he ever played in because both teams effectively cancelled each other out. But it is in mint A1 pristine condition, Andy. So I think it would warrant a place at the National Football Museum.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, the word's out there for them. If they want to get in touch with Stan, we'll put you in touch. Maybe let's have a quick one on Daniel Levy. Your take on what's gone on?
The words Doug Ellis as a Villa fan spring to mind. Okay. The man that signed me for my beloved club, so I'll always be grateful for that. Departed a number of years ago now. But like Daniel, he and I heard you a little bit earlier, there's no doubt that he got the buzz from having hardball negotiations with people. I think it was Jimmy Greaves on the legendary Saint and Greaves that gave him the moniker Deadly Doug, and he loved it. And I think that he would always say, I know the price of every toilet roll, I know the price of every sheet of paper, every fax machine. And whatever Villa fans thought, and pretty much identical to what a lot of Spurs fans thought, yes, keeps the club afloat and keeps the club in the black, but doesn't keep us competitive on the pitch, is that when he sold his share to Randy Lerner, and then Randy Lerner, it went, bottoms up, who then sold it to Dr. Tony Xia, that is still on the run somewhere in China, we're led to believe, that Aston Villa nearly went bankrupt. Now, I know that won't happen at Tottenham because there's obviously the Lewis family and, rumours of potential inward investment. And Spurs, being a big London club with an amazing stadium, revenue generating, we're talking about sovereign wealth funds if they were to open the doors to them. But there might be a bit of a transitional period off the pitch for Spurs, and it might be a little bit bumpy. But yeah, the Doug Ellis one for me. I mean, the way I look at Daniel Levy is like a lot of Spurs fans, is that if only the output on the pitch managed this incredible machinery that he stewarded off it. But there's also a little bit of an element of be careful what you wish for, because like Doug Ellis, when Aston Villa, when he left, it was a bit of a rocky period for a number of years. I don't think that'll happen at Spurs. I think they're far more robust, but there might be the odd bumpy road here and there.
I just think maybe that period of adjustment, that period of handover has been happening already with Vinay in there and Peter Charrington as a non-exec director. So it will be interesting, yeah. Now, you mentioned London there, and I know you wanted to talk about that. João Pedro,
yes,
saying he moved to Chelsea over Newcastle because he missed London. You think you've seen a bit of a trend there?
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing this with Saggers 10 years ago now about, and we'd have a Monday night and we'd have a row about something, and it was obvious to me from speaking to agents and players that what used to happen traditionally in English football is that players would go to the big clubs that were winning the big trophies. No surprises there. So it was the industrial northwest, Liverpool and Manchester, and then it would be big historic clubs with huge fan bases because you wanted to play in front of those sorts of fans. Villa, Newcastle, other clubs spring to mind, and London, Tottenham, and particularly Arsenal, and then the last 20 odd years Chelsea. But I spoke to an agent yesterday and I said, how bad is it now in terms of, or what's the situation with players wanting to go to London? Because on the back of this story I was writing a column about it, and I went to war a little bit with Newcastle fans. I said, one of the things that you're going to have to deal with, and this was going back 10 years, but this is fairly recently, about 2 months ago. I said, Newcastle United, like Villa and other clubs that aren't winning trophies regularly, but want to get back to the top seat of English football, if you can't bribe them with wages, you may well have to build a training complex in London. And of course, when I mentioned this 10 years ago, people thought it was crazy. Newcastle fans were like, yeah, we're a big enough club, get lost. If people don't want to play for Newcastle in Newcastle. But Liverpool and Manchester United, for example, both have their sort of executive offices in London. It's not an unusual thing. So the João Pedro one is just the latest in a long line of players that's elaborated something that people within the industry have known for a long time, is that living, working, breathing in London and having all the benefits of a world-class city are important when players sign. It's an interesting one, actually, because when I think there have been several Villa players that have lived in London, famously Christian Benteke, I believe, thought Villa was in London. But it genuinely, when he signed, and that's not an unusual thing, you're taking kids and you say, you're going to go and play in the Premier League, and a lot of people automatically assume sort of London is the UK, or they think that it's a small country and, you could drive to Newcastle, you could drive to Manchester, you could drive to Liverpool. But in terms of João Pedro's comments, it's really interesting because, of course, he had the choice between Chelsea and Newcastle. If I was a player, I'd choose Chelsea because I think there are more opportunities to win things. But at the core of his thinking was, I want to be back in London and I want to live in London. So from that perspective, I think that Luca Dean is a really interesting one. Never played for a London club, but obviously Everton and Aston Villa. And his wife mentioned in a blog post several months ago, they've lived in London all the way through his career. Wow. This is a guy that's basically played in Liverpool and Birmingham. He's never played in London. And I just think that it would make absolute common sense, Paul and Andy, particularly for some of the big boys, Newcastle, Villa, any of the Manchester and Liverpool clubs, that at some point in the future, to placate players that are getting paid a fortune anyway, but want the lifestyle of living in London, that their training complex is in London and they fly or drive or coach to Newcastle, to Birmingham, to Liverpool, to Manchester for matches.
Yeah.
It sounds ludicrous,
Radical. Yeah.
but at some point it will be in the conversation.
Stan Collymore is with us. We're going to build up to England, get his thoughts on who he'd like to see playing at Villa Park tomorrow. And we'll talk about the striking options. God forbid Kane gets an injury, but where would we be at? Who could replace him? We'll be chatting to Stan about that in a few moments' time. We're here with Tool Station, standing behind every single tradesperson of Britain. Next up, Tool Station.
roads to Mexico, USA and Canada.
Louis Skelly checks in. Oh, what a start!
The fans want to see England end the years of hurt.
More boos
news from the England fans that have stayed in. Andorra 0, England 1.
We all think that there's a lot of decent players and a clutch of decent players, but it's getting the balance right and the formula right that is his job.
3-1, the first African side ever to beat England. It's back to the drawing board.
Defeat is bad enough, but the performance, I think, that leaves a lot of questions.
We feel that we are lacking the enthusiasm and the joy consistently on international levels.
I'm still believing Thomas Tuchel.
When you're here, I think it's important not to get too frightened about the situation.
It's James. Oh, it is magnificent.
It's for me a key period now that we improve, that we play with more rhythm, that we create an identity.
I think he's just finding out how hard it is to be the manager of England.
Yes, we bring you commentary of England versus Andorra at Villa Park tomorrow evening. Before we get Stan's take on who he'd like to see involved in the match, Thomas Tuchel's been speaking to our very own Faye Carruthers, our England correspondent, ahead of the game, live on talkSPORT.
With qualification well on its way at the moment, do you feel well on your way to knowing the group that you'd like to take out to North America if and when you qualify?
Yes and no. Yes, I have my ideas, and yes, I learned a lot from the last camps, and I learn a lot about football because I have fantastic assistant coaches who challenge me every day in my beliefs and come up with new ideas, and then we translate it into international football. About the amount that we can even provide, because we don't have a lot of time to train with the players, but no, because I don't want to lose my concentration and focus thinking about the World Cup. So if I even had now in my mind, if I have in my mind 2, 3, 4, 5 players, of which I'm sure that I want to play them, they still can get injured right in front of the World Cup. It's a possibility. This can always happen. So we always need to be open enough and pragmatic in our approach. It's camp by camp. And it's camp by camp until we hopefully arrive in the US. And once we arrive in the US, we can only choose from the players who are fit and in shape. This will never change.
There we are, Thomas Tuchel chatting to Faye Carruthers. We're going to hear from Dan Burn a little bit later on as well in the show. Stan Collymore's with us, former England striker and a big England fan. See his Canuck England flag around the world. Stan, what do you want to see tomorrow? Are there some players you'd like to see get a look in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's now. I mean, firstly, the messaging has been sort of mixed, really, hasn't it? He's come out after games and said this isn't good enough, and then he's been sort of nicey, give everybody a hug. And I think that's where we miss Gareth Southgate in a way, because he created an ecosystem where players understood him and he understood the players. It's time sensitive because the World Cup is next year. And he's been brought in to get results. So this sort of schizophrenic nicey 1 minute, but then we've got to perform better, must be quite jarring for players. In terms of players I'd like to see get opportunities, I think that, save for the fact that the likes of Stones, Saka, Bellingham, perhaps Phil Foden, Trent Alexander-Arnold, maybe Jack Grealish if he continues his very promising start, is that this England squad is eminently inexperienced. Half of the players, 12, have got 10 caps or less. 18 of them have got fewer than 20 caps. And there's only 4 or 5 players, the likes of Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Declan Rice, Jordan Henderson, goalie Jordan Pickford, that you would put in the senior international category. So, albeit Andorra, and then perhaps the most difficult game in the group, Serbia away, is that it is an inexperienced group of players that he's got. So there is going to be a degree of experimentation. I'd like to see the likes of Rodgers, Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson given minutes. We pretty much know that Jordan Henderson and Declan Rice are going to be the staples for both games, the experienced heads, 84 caps and 66 caps respectively. I know Ruben Loftus-Cheek has come in, but I think that Gibbs-White and Rodgers give an extra dimension in terms of their creativity. Been a bit of a difficult start for Morgan Rodgers. He hasn't been amazing for Villa in his opening couple of games, and Morgan Gibbs-White wasn't good when West Ham comfortably beat Nottingham Forest last week. But I think that this is the reason why they should play. It's you're in the camp, We want to give you minutes, get your confidence back with England, and that's worked with a number of players over the years. Elliot Anderson as well, I think, along with Adam Wharton, is going to be really pushing for a starting place in the lineup. And that may well mean Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, when they're all fit and firing, is that we may see Rice and Bellingham move a little bit further forward and entrust an Anderson or entrust a Wharton to be the pivot and to play. And then either side of Harry Kane, I think Marcus Rashford will play because I think he's senior. And I think that, albeit his goals to games in an England shirt, 17 in 62 isn't anything to write home about. I would go for Madueke and Eze. They've both just had moves. They'll both be still buzzing off that, and the sort of afterglow of training with new teammates and new information. So those are the two, Eze and Madueke, that would flank either side of Harry Kane. But in terms of moving forward, we need to now start putting in performances where people at home are going, yeah, I can see what we're trying to do, because the Senegal performance at the City Ground was poor. The game against Andorra, all the games that Thomas Tuchel has marshalled so far, bar a 20-minute period in a couple of games, have been mostly poor. Is that he's got to do much less talking, and he's now got to translate his vision and image, along with Anthony Barry, who's an exceptional coach, young English coach, into results. And more importantly, performances, because nobody's going to go to a World Cup finals tournament, an expanded World Cup finals tournament, with all of the issues that potentially could have of playing at altitude in Mexico or in heat in the United States and Canada, is that nobody's just going to stumble their way to a World Cup win or to a semi-final or to a quarter-final. They've got to play well. So that has to start now.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I was at Brentford. Tuchel was there that day when he watched Jordan Henderson. I have to say, I was quite sceptical about him, but he was brilliant that day. I mean, he was fascinating to watch, and he does have the experience. Although a lot of people don't, want to see England get younger, but it's interesting to see what.
Yeah, he's made a pretty decent start for Brentford, Stan, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think the thing with Jordan Henderson is that if you've got younger players that play in his position, like Anderson, like Wharton's obviously not in this squad, but Elliot Anderson, that's done very well in the top league now for 18 months. You talk to the Geordies, you talk to people like Dan Burn, players that I think Dan Burn said as much, that they didn't want Elliot Anderson to go. He was part of the sort of the issues that Newcastle and Villa have, and Nottingham Forest to a great lesser degree, of having to sell because of PSR. Elliot Anderson has been excellent. So Elliot Anderson's 22, Jordan Henderson's 35. I know the FA may only be looking at Thomas Tuchel for this next tournament, although Tuchel's messaging has been, I want to stay beyond that. But surely you give a 22-year-old that is performing at the highest level in the Premier League, you give him the nod and you say, let's get 5, 6, 7 caps under your belt. Let's see where we are come next summertime, which is what Tuchel's already said in terms of his choosing of his squad. And for me, that would be much better to have Elliot Anderson on 5, 6, 7, 8 caps than him sitting on the bench somewhere in, I don't know, Monterey or Miami, sitting on 1 or 2 caps. We know what Jordan Henderson can do, and Jordan Henderson is all the things that we know. Great pro, very good leader, excellent tourist. But let's give people that are doing the business the opportunity to shine, particularly when they're 13 years younger.
Stan, enjoy the game. We'll catch up with you next week. All the best.
Come on, England.
There we are. Stan Collymore there. Our thanks to him. And
his style of play, isn't it? You just want to see England play with freedom.
Just about. I mean, especially against teams like that. I mean, we've got players. We've got players who play confidently, play with a bit of swagger, like Eze. You just want to see
take players on, have the confidence to do that, and not worry about losing it up the field.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow evening. It's live on talkSPORT with our top team, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce, and of course Adrian Durham, your host for that one at Villa Park. The WSL gets underway tonight, and our live commentary is a corker of a game, Chelsea-Manchester City. And we're going to be chatting to Lucy Ward, the former Leeds United player and commentator, and getting her take on the start of the WSL. Very exciting deadline day. We saw the transfer record broken. We saw a world record broken by the London City Lionesses. So we're going to be chatting about that.
They're going to shake the league up. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is very interesting. So that's all to come. Clips of the week, Tom Macklin, and we'll look ahead to Scotland in Denmark this evening as well before we hand over to Andy Goldstein and Darren Bentwood Drive.
Knows there are 20 managers in the Premier League, yeah? Well, actually, no. Around 3/4 of them are not managers. The terms manager and head coach are often used interchangeably to describe Premier League bosses, but they're actually two different jobs. So let's explain how and why. For years, fans referred to Mikel Arteta as Arsenal's manager, but I'm afraid technically...
I don't think so, no.
From his first day on the job, he was the Gunners' head coach. Let's pick a random moment in time, February 2025. Only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025 there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
Oh my goodness! What a penalty kick! You better believe it! Football is coming home again! Rissing Canary from the angle with the shot, and it flashes into the back of the net, and Chelsea get their inevitable goal.
She might shoot from distance. I don't think she's going to beat Lucy Bronze now. Oh. She does! It's into the bottom corner!
Rousseau with a shot, into the back of the net, and Arsenal lead after 1 minute and 6 seconds. What a start to the North London derby.
This WSL season is going to be more competitive than ever.
Mee gets to it, and Durang is there. Can she put it in? She's done!
Yes, talkSPORT is delighted to announce a new 3-year partnership with WSL Football, holding the radio rights until 2029, with the WSL starting this evening. We go strong. We've got 2 live commentaries on talkSPORT 2, Chelsea City this evening at the Bridge, and the Merseyside derby. Of course, Liverpool-Everton on Sunday at Anfield. We're seeing a lot more games being played in the main stadiums.
Yep.
Arsenal playing all their games. We've got Everton playing at Goodison as well, which is very exciting. Here to look ahead to the season is the former Leeds player turned commentator, Lucy Ward. Hi, Lucy.
Hiya, Paul. Hi, Andy.
Yeah, what a crazy day yesterday. We saw a couple of other £1 million deals and a real sort of statement of intent from London City Lionesses.
Honestly, I just lost track of it yesterday. It's gone really crazy, and really in women's football, in terms of transfer fees, you haven't had them for very long, and so there's no real point of reference. So all of a sudden it's like, right, let's get to $1 million, £1 million. But then yesterday, I think there was sort of 3 or 4 in the world. I think 3 to the WSL, but I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? You know, it's a lot of money, but it isn't compared to the transfer fees in the men's game. So Michelle Kang, who owns London City Lionesses, who's a billionaire, probably dropped more money running for the bus that she spent. That's what I'm saying. So, when you've got a billionaire, and it happened with Lyon, sort of 10 or 15 years ago, somebody with money got a hold of the Lyon women's team and made them the best in Europe. So, you can do it, you can spend and just get a little ahead of the other teams in the WSL. But they've come up, they've signed lots of players. They've just signed yesterday Gayoro, who obviously is French international. You've seen her play against England, very good in the summer. But these are massive, massive players.
They could really shake the league up. Wouldn't be a bad thing, would it, to have another power in the league?
Yeah, I think you're right, Andy. I think that what you think is that they probably won't win it, obviously, but they will have an effect on who does win it, because they'll probably take a scalp or two. I mean, they've obviously got to ensure that the team molds very well and is cohesive, because there's lots of new players, lots of very good new players. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Chelsea have just run away with it just simply because they've always had the strength in depth. Arsenal won the Champions League last season, so you got to look at them and think, right, well, they're a good players want to go there. Will they have a say in it? But the depth of Chelsea's squad, and they've signed Alyssa Thompson, who, if people don't know who she is, one of the best young American players that there is around at the moment. So a pace to die for, just a great player. And you're talking, like the Messi and Ronaldos of the women's world are coming to the WSL, so it can only be a good thing.
I was going to ask, Lucy, are you expecting a more competitive league? As we said, we've seen the big sort of 3-4 dominate. Are you expecting a slightly more competitive league this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a danger because of the money thing that not all want to spend. We just saw Grace Clinton moving from Man United to Man City, and a pointed reference in her statement about not having the sort of same ambition, the club not having the same ambition, which when you're talking about Manchester United is crazy to think of. So I think it might sort of split into two, the league, in terms of who's fighting at the bottom and who's fighting at the top. I don't think it'll be into three. I think there'll be there'll be a lot that are going for the Champions League places and obviously the title.
We've seen how many injuries there have been in the men's game from overplaying, and Chelsea have got to start the season basically without three of their best players: Maya Ramirez, Lucy Bronze, Lauren James. It's this is going to happen more and more, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think, Andy, what happens is that the men's players have been playing, and it's just this wave of women's players now who have been playing regularly and training regularly from a really young age, from under 10 all the way through. That's only been a recent thing, sort of the last 10 or 15 years. So you're getting those players through now who are durable and who can manage that load. But with the women's game, the last few years, it's been, you play sort of 3 games in a week and then you wouldn't play for another couple of weeks. I think this is what the WSL at the moment, that the rebranding is trying to sort out, that it's regular games and it's, these top players are playing lots, but, you've got to make sure that they have a break, especially, the Euros players. You said the Chelsea players, you get, and we know about the risk of ACL injuries is more in the women's game as well. So you just got to be mindful of that, I think, with the amount that the top players play.
A lot of the talk around Chelsea, Lucy, has been about winning the Champions League. Then they're at pains to say, look, we want to win it all, but we really want to win the Champions League. I wonder if that's going to feed into what happens in the league.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, the most gutted about Arsenal's Champions League win will be, in a nice way, it will be the Chelsea play. Listen, because Chelsea have made us believe over the last few years that nobody can beat Barcelona women, and then Arsenal go and do it. And we've seen Lyon have a game plan in recent Champions League finals and do it. So it can be done, and Chelsea really, with the squad that they've had over the last few years, last 5 years, I'd say, should have got closer than they have done to winning. But Champions League is Barcelona have dominated it over the last few years. But I was there that night. It was absolutely incredible what Arsenal did. It just shows with game plan, players with belief, a good manager, tactical changes that anything can happen.
The gates as well, Lucy, are interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of numbers, as we said, so many of the main stadiums now being used for the women's games. And, the uplift from the Lionesses. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of numbers are coming through the gate.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we've sort of looked at. That's the one thing that's not sort of kept up. There's lots of supporters of the Lionesses, obviously, because they're successful and it's good to go watch them. But Arsenal have done it very, very well. Everton hopefully will do that well as well. Chelsea, try and get games, not as many at Stamford Bridge, but I think it's about being a spectacle. I think they're having like alcohol trials. That sounds very strange. I think it just means drinking alcohol in the stands rather than the players. And obviously the new TV deal as well. That is. It's a balance, isn't it? People like to watch on TV, but do they actually go out and do it? And it's about the timing of games. It's not always been obvious to fans when the games are, but like obviously Arsenal, that's a great day out to go to watch that at the main stadium.
The trend is upwards, though, isn't it? I mean, one of the things we've been reading today is that the new hierarchy at Spurs want to push the women's team. Vina obviously saw that in action at Arsenal, so they're a club that are likely to be spending more. All the clubs realise it's an extension of their brand. It reflects on them as a business. So they're going to commit more resource, more money, more everything to women's football. So, the trend is upwards.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's been slow. I mean, it just seems to be. I mean, I'm old, and it seems to have been, for ages. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The Lionesses obviously have helped that, but yeah. I think that's right, and again, it's the spending is all relative. It's peanuts to some of these top teams who actually, some of them have been embarrassed into getting women's team. Man United, when they've sort of relaunched the women's team, blamed sort of finance on that. So that's what's like. They're all getting on board with it, and I think you can get around a few PSR rules as well, can't you? With buying your women's team off you, selling your women's team, whatever it might be. So I think that who cares as long as we sort of getting the players in there, so people want to go and watch, and and everything's improving, and it becomes. a spectacle. The TV deal it puts a lot of money into clubs as well, but not all clubs will be able to afford these sort of transfer fees. So it'll be interesting to see whether any of them become innovative, like a Brentford, or data driven and in a way, because there's more data about women's players around the world now. So it's exciting.
Brilliant. We're looking forward to it, Lucy. We'll catch up with you during the season. Thanks very much.
Cheers, boys.
Take care. There's Lucy Ward there, the former Leeds United player and commentator. And as we said, our coverage gets underway tonight, live on talkSPORT 2 with Kevin Hatchard and Rebecca Smith, your commentary team. From the bridge, Chelsea versus Manchester City.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT, and Todd Macklin will be joining us very shortly, entering the world of American sports. The NFL got underway last night. It was an eventful game, interrupted for 65 minutes because of the weather conditions, and we had an ejection very early on in the game, so plenty to talk to Todd about. And stick around for the Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes impression, which is pretty spot on. We're here with our good friends at Tool Station. Next stop, Tool Station. It is time to talk American sport, as always, with Todd Macklin. Good afternoon, Todd.
Hi, boys.
Well, the NFL was back last night. The Phillies beat the Cowboys 24-20, despite having a player ejected. Defensive tackle Jalen Carter was ejected for spitting on the Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott. This was the moment. We bring it to you now.
Jalen Carter, the focus and the star for the Cowboys, for the Eagles on the front line, out for the game before a snap. Here he goes. He walks there in front of Dak Prescott. Did he spit? Did he spit on him? I think he did. There you go.
Yeah, he kind of spat in his general direction, to quote John Cleese in Holy Grail. But, yeah, off he went. Not a great start. And I'm reading a little piece on Sports Illustrated today, Todd, saying it's all part of kind of cleaning up the game. You know, as the game expands and the playing in Brazil, we'll come on to that, and the global reach of the game. Look, things like this, they don't want to see that. And so they're going to come down hard on stuff like that.
Absolutely. And one of the things they talked about was taunting. So they called, an early taunting penalty where an Eagles defender made a good tackle to nullify a gain for the Cowboys, and he kind of stood over him, kind of saying, hey, and they gave him a penalty. So you're right. Those are the type of things. I should say, too, there is no real defense for Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott, but they did find video later in the game that showed Dak Prescott spitting in the direction of Jalen Carter, and then Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott. So it's kind of one of those things where they caught the reaction to it and the fact that it was actually on the player that he got kicked out of the game. I mean, they hadn't even taken a snap, and he got kicked out of the game. It was a pretty crazy game. The first half, the defenses were terrible. The team scored on every possession. Then they had the weather delay in the second half. They had lightning in the area, so they delayed the game for an hour. And there was only a field goal in the second half. So it was a really weird game. I guess the only consistent is the Eagles beat the Cowboys again, kind of what they do on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's we're going to come on to tonight because we've been chatting this week about, as we said, the expansion, and it's not the first time they've played in Brazil. There's been a game in Brazil before, Todd, hasn't there, for the NFL?
There has, yeah. So this is the second time they've gone there. I was reading a story on ESPN about they were talking about when when the Chiefs arrived in Sao Paulo, they were treated like rock stars. And again, right, American football is not the big sport in Brazil, right? But the Chiefs have such a following, obviously, because of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and just because they've been one of the dominant teams in the NFL over the last, 6-7 years type of thing. So listen, it's the Chiefs. That's why they're there. They talk about the Chiefs have embraced kind of growing the game and their role in all this. And again, they haven't lost sight of, hey, they got to win a football game, right? Sure. Because, they open up in Brazil against the Chargers, a division rival, and you're the Chiefs. You always have a target on your back, right? You get everyone's best game. And in week 2, the Chiefs play the Eagles. So you don't want to lose the opener because you got a really tough game in game number 2.
Now, they Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, sat down with Travis Kelce, and they did the press conference. And, apparently Mahomes had said something in the build-up that Kelce sort of jokingly didn't like. So he took advantage of it to do his best Patrick Mahomes impression. We're going to just show you and let you listen to that now.
Oh, man, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun seeing all the fans there. And
he had that one coming for telling everybody I didn't know where Brazil was on the map.
It is a bit Kermit-like.
It is very Kermit-like. It's probably, but it's a good impression that time. I was quite impressed.
Yeah, I think when you've spent that much time together, which Kelce and Mahomes have, and as when you're as talented as Kelce and you're an actor, right? in Happy Gilmore too. I think Travis has probably got the Mahomes imitation down to in a pretty good way, right? And as you say, it is Kermit. All I can think of is Kermit when I hear it.
Now, the big star of women's basketball in WNBA is Caitlin Clark. She had an incredible first season, become the poster girl, and she puts people on the gate. She puts audience on TV. But this second season has been so tough for her. She's had injury after injury. She's now issued a statement, said she's done for the season. She's played 13 games this season. And obviously it's not great for her, but not great for the league or great for women's basketball either.
It is going to be really tough for the WNBA. When you lose the face of the league like that, it's going to be tough. So now the onus is on the rest of the league, right, to make the playoffs, because we're a couple weeks away from the playoffs. You got to make it great, right? The games have to be great. You hope that your star players, again, not at the level of Caitlin Clark in notoriety, but you hope that your star players and your big teams get to the finals and have a great series like last year. Like the Minnesota-New York series last year was fantastic. Caitlin Clark wasn't a part of it, and it made huge inroads for the WNBA. So you hope Indiana gets in too. I know that she's not playing, but at least she'd be at the games. If Indiana can find a way in the playoffs, you'd still see her on TV, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough too because they're going into their playoffs, and it's when the NFL is starting and Major League Baseball's postseason. So it's a very competitive environment, and not to have your face of the league is tough.
Now, in men's basketball, there's a bit of a scandal brewing around the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, apparently there's been allegations which the Clippers owners deny, that they paid him $28 million through a kind of sketchy endorsement deal. There's been a bit of digging from investigative journalists. We say the Clippers deny there's been any wrongdoing in an effort to circumvent the salary cap. And if you do that, and there's been a kind of precedent before, punishments around that. They call it the Joe Smith penalty, going back to the year 2000, and they're pretty draconian measures that the league apply if you try and mess with a salary cap.
It's going to be severe. That Joe Smith, the year that happened, where the team circumvented the salary cap, I think they lost 5 first-round draft picks, and were also fined a certain amount of money. I don't think it's 5 first-round picks anymore. I think they've had a change to the CBA. There'll definitely be a fine. But again, you're talking about Steve Ballmer, right, who's a multi-billionaire. So the fine is kind of irrelevant. It's how many number 1 picks. I heard it was only 1 you could lose. But again, if the NBA can make it more than 1, that's the biggest punishment in this. And yeah, we've talked about it. NBA has a salary cap, but endorsement deals are not part of, a part of the salary cap. But what they're saying is Ballmer invested in a company that also had a deal with Kawhi Leonard for $28 million. The company's gone bankrupt. The owner of the company has pleaded guilty to fraud. So when you look at it, right, it's fishy. It's very fishy. So now it's up to the NBA to investigate and see if it is fishy or not. But from the outside, guys, it looks fishy.
It does. Yeah. We'll keep an eye on that. And in baseball, this was an interesting one. Tell us a bit more about this. Is a guy called plays for the Astros called Framber Valdez, and he had to deny that he deliberately hit his catcher in the chest with a 93-mile-an-hour ball after a bit of a miscommunication between the two of them. Tell us a bit more about this, Tom. What happened?
Yeah, so Astros at home hosting the Yankees. Yankees are winning 2-0. They've got the bases loaded. Valdez is on the mound, ready to deliver a pitch. And his catcher kind of stands up and says, step off the plate, step off. And he doesn't. He gives up a grand slam. So the next batter, the catcher thinks he's getting an off-speed pitch, a slower pitch. That's what he called. That's what he thinks he's getting. And Valdez throws a 93-mile-an-hour pitch and hits him right in the chest. And so the catcher takes his helmet off and he kind of looks at him like, what the heck just happened? And Valdez doesn't apologize. He just turns around and completely ignores him. So people are like, hey, he did that on purpose. Now the Astros are in damage control and they're kind of saying, no, wasn't on purpose. They got crossed up. They've the pitcher apologized to the catcher. They met after the game. There's no bad feelings. Now they have to say that because you don't want this to become a story because the Astros are trying to get in the playoffs. But it looked fishy when you see it.
Yeah. It's all been a bit fishy today, Todd.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We will catch up with you next week. Thanks very much.
See you, boys.
There we are. It's Todd Macklin, our man on American sports. And as we were just saying, the NFL is back. talkSPORT delivering its biggest ever season of coverage, exclusive coverage of over 90 games this season. We got underway last night with that match we were just discussing between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, the season opener. Then over the weekend, we got 5 games from the opening week of the season. So plenty to come. All the coverage at talksport.com/NFL or head to the TalkSport USA YouTube channel. Clips of the week in a few moments' time. All your favourites are in there. And we'll also be hearing from Dan Burn and looking ahead to Scotland in Denmark tonight, kicking off their World Cup qualifying. Possibly, who knows, Steve Clarke's last chance to get them to a World Cup. That's all to come.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earned 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
The week on talkSPORT with Toolstation. Next stop, Toolstation.
talkSPORT clips of the week. Yes, clips of the week time with Toolstation, and we're going to kick off with a slightly grumpy Alan Brazil going late to the news.
talkSPORT News.
Coming up 6:30, let's get the headline news with Emma.
Thanks, Al. Good morning.
Well, tell me then, you numpties.
A chickenpox vaccine.
Tell me then, you numpties.
Marvellous, isn't it?
Not in a good mood.
This is a strong recovery from Majestic.
Today, Everton 2, Brighton 0, Ilman Ndiaye and James Garner on the score sheet.
Yeah, yes. Good recovery there from Madge. In a similar vein, here's the former Arsenal midfielder Manu Petit.
I think I was, from the start of the game, I was quite frustrated with the first 11, the team sheet.
Yeah, no recovery there, obviously.
Still, he is French.
Yeah, he is French, yeah, of course. Yeah,
a bit of slack. And here's Madge's co-host, Alan Pardew, with one we're calling, What's Going On Here, Pods?
Paul against AJ. Does anybody want to see Jake Paul take on AJ?
I see, is it Barry Earns, the young one, isn't he? No. Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe is Barry Hearn's son. That, of course, that's a duff moment and a half. Never knew that. Never knew that at all. And this is Troy Deeney at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the Bournemouth game. Oh, no, sorry, it's the wrong one. I do apologise. Completely my fault. Sorry, guys. Well done. Glees Bill's on the case.
Yes.
I'm creating clips of the week as we go. It's Jeff Stelling now. Of course it is. Take 2, discussing a Liverpool signing.
Have Liverpool had the best transfer window in the history of Premier League football? Oof. Crikey, I've just read that. That's maybe going a bit far. What does the Isaac deal mean for Ekitike?
I'm surprised he has a meal deal. I mean, with his money, Ekitike.
Does he get a sandwich?
Well, I would imagine. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I imagine he's got the choice between the crisps and the fruit. I doubt he has a grab bag of prawn cocktail walkers. Does he? I imagine he has a bit of pineapple or something. So anyway, nice. If you're in your local shop, do look out for Ekitike and his meal deal. And what's next, Andy? If we didn't know,
it's Troy Deeney.
Oh, is he really?
I know.
Yeah.
Surprise. He's at the London Hotspur stadium?
The Tottenham Hotspur. He's in London, definitely.
What's London Hotspur?
Is that have you heard something, Andy? We're not London
Daniel
Hotspur.
Levy's new team forming London Hotspur.
Imagine that, his revenge team, his spite team, the London Hotspurs.
Let's start it all again and say, this is Troy G. Oh, for goodness sake.
Troy Genie. I remember his show, I Dream of Deanie.
Dream of Deanie.
Yeah.
What a great show.
It's Troy Genie. It gives you 3 wishes.
This is Troy
Keep broadcasting, Andy.
This is Troy Deeney at the Tottenham Hotspur
Is it really?
Stadium
Yeah.
for the Bournemouth game.
And we're just looking over to our left now. All the Bournemouth fans happy as Larry, screaming, jumping around. This whole place is as quiet as a pancake.
That's a good phrase. Quiet as a pancake.
Or as flat as a mouse.
Flat as a mouse. Yeah, that can happen. Anyway, we move on. Let's get the news now with Emma Kerwin.
Parents being urged to take up the offer of a chickenpox vaccine for babies on the NHS from January. Health ministers say it'll keep kids in school and parents off, and keep parents off, and parents can stay in the office.
Okay, fair.
Well, obviously they're not working.
Keep parents off. Yeah, I was what was going on there for a minute.
Not be office workers.
Yeah,
who knows?
indeed. Yeah. So what's next, Andy?
It's a chat between Tony Cascarino and Natalie Sawyer. It took an odd turn on Weekend Breakfast recently.
There's people now who even have snakes. And can you stroke a snake? I'm not sure I'd want to stroke a snake. People are having some really
you
weird...
can obviously stroke a snake.
Well, a certain type of snake.
I think you can stroke a snake. Yeah.
It's all a bit.
I don't know where it quite fitted into a preview of the day's big football matches, but there we are. I mean, we're fine ones to talk on that basis. Back to Alan Brazil with another early start on breakfast.
Oh, God, me. Do you know what? The more sleep I have, the more tired I get.
I'm not sure that stacks
How
up
does that work?
scientifically. Yeah. Oh, I get more sleep. I get so much more tired. Yeah.
Well, on that basis, he clearly had a very good night's sleep before doing this.
Right now, the latest sporting odds with Coral and Simon Clare. And a very good morning to you. I haven't got a clue. Who is it, Steve-O?
No, it's Simon Clare. You just said my name.
Oh, did I? No, I didn't. I never said Simon, did I?
I thought you introed me.
Yeah, he did. You just introed him. I mean, literally 10 seconds before. He obviously had a very good night's sleep. Alan also made an unscheduled guest appearance during an England press conference with Morgan Rogers.
Now, one of last season's stars, Morgan Rogers, has retained his place in Tuchel's England squad. He sat down with talkSPORT's England correspondent, Faye Carruthers, yesterday and told us how much he's looking forward to playing with Sancho and Elliott.
It's just exciting, especially to play with English players that have also got something to prove, in the sense of I'm sure they want to be in the England squad as well, and being at...
Hey, Gab! Just saw the red light was on there. Oh, dear.
It can happen.
What's next, Andy?
It's Shabana Hearn now, who's clearly not a big fan of Manchester United.
We should be good enough to beat Grimsby, that's for sure, and you can't take it away from them. They were by far the better team last night. Daniel, it's Burnley this weekend. What happens after that if, touchwood, it's to be another defeat for Ruben Amorim?
I mean, no need for that, Shabana. Touch wood, they lose.
We're hoping.
I can't find some wood. Staying with United, here's Simon Jordan on the manager.
And now you've got Ruben Amorim talking about things that we can't understand with no improvements, saying things that his players have spoken loudly. And I don't know anyone that's been able to understand that. That's right up there with the sardines are following the trawler.
It doesn't sound like a good idea for a sardine, does it? I mean, if I was a sardine, I'm not following the trawler.
That's the worst thing you could do.
That's a rookie mistake, isn't it, in the sardine world? I would imagine, really. Anyway, Andy.
Just one more from Big Al, who gave us his in-depth take on a European nation.
Luxembourg.
It's in Luxembourg, yeah.
I was going to say, I thought Ireland were favourites, but...
Just about, though.
I tell you, the famous thing about Luxembourg is you stop there on your way down the Alps. It's cheap petrol. That's about it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, that's all we know about.
What about Radio Luxembourg?
What do you know about Luxembourg? Just cheap petrol, really. That's marvellous. And finally, it's a classic curse of the co-commentator with Alan Pardew and Sam Matterface at Anfield last Sunday.
You know, Arsenal, their defence is obviously sound, and it's looked sound all day today.
It's not sound right now because they've just conceded an absolute world-class free kick.
Oh, beautifully timed.
You don't want to be saying that as the bloke's lining up for a free kick. You're asking for it, aren't you?
Yeah. He is a Tottenham fan, the way he wanted to play for Tottenham, Pard. So I think he's a Tottenham fan. So maybe he was willing it to go in.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should thank Glyn Barrington, Michael Fawcett, Dan Kane, Ben Hampson, Reverend Ruthless, Ian, DJ Ed, George N, Jez Dobbs, Steve from Lisbon, John the Gardener, Roger in Durham, Noah Lott, oh God, Danny Bean, Matt, and Teddy Bear, spelt B-A-E-R. You're fooling no one. If you hear a clip on, thank you guys for suggesting clips that were played today. If you do hear a clip on TalkSport over the next week, please do send it in to us. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089, tweet to TSH&J. Give us a day and a time when you heard it so we can listen back. If you want to hear the clips of the week again, and a whole previous or after clips of the week, they're all available as podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for TalkSport Clips of the Week, as is the H&J Daily. We've had some cracking guests for you today. Roy Jones Jr., a boxing legend, was brilliant, telling us how he finally got his gold medal from the 88 Olympics he was robbed of. And we spoke to Jackie Grealish as well from the world of women's football. Just some of the people you'll hear from. And a brilliant story from Stan Collymore on those Giorgio Armani suits from the 96 Cup final. So you'll catch all that on the H&J Daily podcast, again, wherever you get your podcast. But they were the clips of the week from Tool Station. And before we cross to Ali Ross and we talk about Scotland going to Denmark tonight, let's just hear from Dan Burn, the England and Newcastle defender. He's been chatting to our own Faye Carruthers ahead of the game against Andorra tomorrow. That's live on TalkSport. This is what he said.
Dan, I feel like before we delve into England, we need to address the situation that's been happening up at Newcastle and Alexander Isak. What are your thoughts on everything that's happened, and have you spoken to him since he left?
Yeah, I'm glad it's over. I think once we had the transfer window finished, we've got that bit of clarity now, and I think we've invested really, really well in the summer. I think if you sort of took the Alex situation out of it, I think it would have been a sort of top transfer window. But listen, I've been in football long enough now to understand that players have short careers. They've got things that they want to achieve and ambitions, and as a player and a professional, I understand that. Obviously, as a Newcastle fan, we're very passionate about the club and the city, and we think that nobody should want to leave and they can achieve that here. But for me, I'm just sort of happy that it's done. I'm happy for Alex. He's a friend at the end of the day, and I don't think it was probably easy on him in the summer either. So I'm happy that he's sort of getting his move, and I'm happy that now we can move forward. But yeah, obviously be looking forward to the Liverpool game also.
Yeah, players often have a very different take on it to the fans. But Dan Burn is a fan, but, you know, he's got his pros head on there. So we bring that game, as we said, live tomorrow. But we're going to be building up to Scotland, looking to qualify for their first World Cup since 1998. It could be Steve Clarke's last hurrah. They go to Denmark tonight. Ali Ross, Tartan Army foot soldier, and the Sun TV columnist, is going to join us to look ahead to that. We're here with Tool Station. Next stop, Tool Station. Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent will be here at 4 with Drive. Friday it's football with Adi Oladipo and Rory Jennings from 7. And the Sports Bar Weekender with Jason Cundy and Carlton Colt from 10 tonight. Over on talkSPORT 2, Chelsea Man City. As the WSL kicks off with Kevin Hatchard and Rebecca Smith, the former New Zealand international. And I'm sure Rory and Adi will keep you in touch with Scotland now they're getting on this evening in World Cup qualifying. They get underway against Denmark in Denmark.
Tough game.
It is a tough game. Steve Clarke has been speaking to the media ahead of that match tonight, and he was asked if he feels any extra motivation to qualify with his contract ending after the World Cup.
Nothing extra. My job is to try and give the boys the best possible chance to get there. So I'll just concentrate on going from game to game, and hopefully when we get to the end of the group stages, we've got enough points to go to the World Cup.
Yep, was it 27 years of hurt?
Yes.
For Scotland. Could this be the year that they get back to World Cup? They came close last time. They play off against Ukraine. 2 European Championships. It's heading in the right direction. Is the glass of tartan export half full? For our next guest, Tartan Army foot soldier, friend of the show, and Sun TV columnist Ali Ross. Good afternoon, Ali.
Hello, Paul. My glass is literally full, but metaphorically empty. So.
I mean, as I said, it's been getting ever closer, hasn't it? So, I mean, what do you think about the current crop of players? And having looked at the group, I'm sure you've sat there and sort of laboured over where you'll pick up the points and where you won't. This is a tough start, isn't it? Their record is very good.
I mean, there could have been worse teams to get as your number one seed, but the Danes play great football. They haven't got the sort of marquee names that other sides have. But this is a tough. I don't think we've won here since the infamous Billy Bremner encounter in '75.
Wow.
So I could be wrong on that, but it's a tough place to come. And they are out in numbers today. Normally you don't see the home fans as much until an hour or so before kickoff, but they are everywhere. They are right up for this one.
Wow.
Copenhagen's a lovely place, and if it goes wrong, I'd nip out to Tivoli Gardens if they're 2-0 down after about 10 minutes.
Yeah. We're sitting outside in Nyhavn, if you know your Copenhagen, which is the canal that runs down the centre of the city and bars either side. It's just a wonderful city.
It is.
Funny, smart, hospitable people. There are worse places to get beat 4-0, I can tell you that.
So you said they've been lovely to you all. That's, you know, the Tartan Army are great ambassadors. So you behave decently, and you get that in return.
Yeah, our reputation kind of goes ahead of us now. We are, without doubt, the best thing about the Scotland football team is the fans. It's probably not the way it should be, but yeah, there's never any edge to it, which is a great thing. And you get to see the world, wonderful cities like this, and Oslo, and I love coming to Scandinavia. I just think it's a brilliant part of the world, and it's a sort of place where you walk around and think, I could actually live here quite happily.
Oh yeah.
How much are you paying for a pint in Copenhagen?
Yes, that's
Ali?
the other problem.
It's not as bad as London.
Oh, really? Blimey.
Yeah, we're paying it's less than 10 quid so far. So I don't know whether there's an English surcharge that we avoid, but yeah, it's going down quite well, as you can imagine.
And
it's torrential rain here.
Really?
Shucking it down all day. So we're huddled under the awnings on the Nyhavn at the moment.
Oh. Sorry, Ali.
There's not a Scotland fan who, when it rains, doesn't go, this is going to suit us. This will suit it. As if it hasn't rained in any other part of the world.
Yeah, like they don't play in rain. It's fantastic, isn't it?
But the Scott McTominay story goes from strength to strength. So you have a bona fide European superstar in your ranks these days.
That's true.
Yeah, and he now shouts "Mamma Mia" when he misses. I don't know if you saw that.
Really?
He's gone completely native, like Steve McLaren. Yeah.
Wow.
We have a world-class player on our hands, and we don't quite know how to deal with it. But he's clearly the one the Danes are worried about, because he's the one that every single one of their fans mentions.
Yeah.
So he'll need to be on it tonight.
United were mad to let him go, and that was really obvious. But with Steve Clarke, I mean, we've seen Craig Bellamy, perform miracles really with Wales. He's really turned it around. So the manager does make a difference, and it would be nice for him to succeed this time. Obviously, if he doesn't.
Absolutely. I'd be pained to see him go as well, because be careful what you wish for and all of that. I think he's done miracles with an average group of players, and for years we said we just want a manager who can qualify us for tournaments. Well, he's done that twice. So shut up moaning and just just accept that we've got the best manager we could possibly have, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
certainly better than us lot.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day in Copenhagen. Enjoy the game, Ali. Best of luck, and we'll catch up with you soon. All the best. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, lads. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
There we are, Ali Ross with the Tartan Army over in Denmark. Say Addy and Rory will keep you in touch with that one from 7. That is us. Thanks for your company this afternoon. We'll be back on Monday, looking back over the international weekend. Hope you can join us from 1. But coming up next, another busy drive show with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent. Have a good weekend.